Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David.
And I'm Hillary.
And today's kind of a special episode for us. We actually got tagged by a different YouTube channel, which we'll talk about in a second. And basically, we have to answer, there's 20 questions that we have to answer, and then I also put out a call for any other questions that people might have for us. So we're going to answer those too. And then at the very end, we're actually going to do the 20th question, then we're going to tag some other content creators. So, let me tell you about the channel that tagged us. It's the Rolling with Two YouTube channel. Really just a fun channel. I think Will and Sarah just have a really cool rapport with each other, and recently they've been doing this board game theater skit that is really fun. I think I just like skits. Yeah, that might be a thing. But it's really amusing. I highly recommend going and checking them out, and I'm going to try to link everyone I mention as much as I can in the description for this episode. So if you're curious, and you should be, you can go and check them out there. So with all that being said, let's get to the questions.
All right. So question 1, what's your name, age, and location?
Okay. I blew it. I gave a spoiler early on. We gave our names already. Anyway, I'm David Rodriguez. I'm 45, and we live up in the Pacific Northwest, the greater Seattle area. I'm calling it the Seattle area, much closer to Tacoma. Do we want to claim Tacoma over Seattle?
No.
No. Greater Seattle area. That's where. That's right. Her answer on that one's going to be the same, I bet. Go ahead.
So my name is Hillary Rodriguez, and I'm 37, and we're in the South Sound area of the greater Seattle area.
Oh, you got sort of more specific.
Yes.
I'm not getting more specific than that. No offense, some of your weirdos though. So anyway, okay, that's the first question. So question number 2, what was your favorite childhood board game?
My favorite childhood board game was Clue. I really liked trying to deduct all the different clues and trying to figure out who did what.
Fair enough. Weirdly, like, we had a supply of board games in my house that almost never got seriously played. Like, I'd pull out the pieces and mess with them. We didn't play a lot of board games, but we did have, I believe it was Trouble's the one with the Pop-O-Matic bubble, right? Yeah. So we had that, and I just liked screwing out the bubble. The weird thing, and I can't explain this for the life of me, every time I played with the Pop-O-Matic bubble, I got a severe, horrible headache. I don't understand it. I don't know how that could be. If something but the sound triggers something in my brain. I don't know, but because either I liked it that much or I was just a stupid kid. I don't know which. I still like playing with the damn thing, so I don't know what that says about me. I don't think I want to delve too deep into that, but I'm gonna say Trouble.
When did you really get into the board game hobby?
Oh boy. I don't know if I can remember the exact year. I was working for Games Workshop, who does, like, you know, miniatures, war games for the most part. And I was one of the managers, and one night, I forget what the circumstance was, but we all the managers in the Seattle area went to this board game store. And they were trying to get people to play games, so they split off into 2 groups of playing games. One group went and played Puerto Rico, and I played Shadows over Camelot. And I was just blown away. It was incredible. So I think it was always kind of adjacent to the board game hobby, but I think that's when I really, like, found one that I loved and, like, really started the whole passion for it.
Yeah. I grew up playing board games like Clue and Monopoly and Life and all the different Hasbro games that you can get. So, but after he brought home that game, I don't remember us actually playing the game then, but it was shortly after that we started buying more games, and that was in 2008.
Yeah, I think we started with some, like, lighter stuff, because that one, I think maybe you can play it 2-player. I'm not sure about that, but it's really recommended for 3 or more, so I don't think we sat and played Shadows for a bit. But okay, so what was the first game you purchased, and do you still own that game?
So I could be wrong, but I think the first game that we got after Shadows over Camelot was Pandemic, and yes, we do still have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that, if I count from that moment from the Shadows, because I bought Shadows like the night that I played it because I was so enthralled with it.
They also were really smart and gave you a discount if you bought it that night.
Yeah, they were really smart, and I was really won over by it. There was actually a game that I bought earlier on before I realized there were anywhere near as many board games as there are, and I still have not played that game. And it's Stratego Legends, and it was a Stratego, but it had more of a fantasy theme, and had this weird collectible situation. And I think the people around me at that time, because I didn't met you yet when I bought that, were just not into board games. So I bought this game kind of hoping somehow I could talk them into it. I don't think it ever happened. I think that's still on the shelf, though. We do have it somewhere, and maybe I'll get to it. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's the first one, and we still have it because I have trouble getting rid of anything. So that's just how that goes.
Any hobbies other than board games?
Yeah. Let's see. I do like video games, and I like writing. Once every few years, I decide to participate in the NaNoWriMo National Novel Writing Month thing. Which, you're supposed to blaze through and just write, get the words out, whatever word count it is you're going for, and not worry about getting it perfect. And I always, do that, and I'm like, okay, soon I'm going to edit it. And I don't touch that story ever again. The last one I did, I'd really like to get back and edit, though, because I actually finished the story, which also doesn't usually happen. But regardless, I do miniatures stuff, painting as well, but ever since starting this channel, it's been really hard to do almost any of those other hobbies. Every once in a while I squeeze in a video game, but that's really about it. It's all nerdy stuff. You got a lot more stuff going on than I feel like.
Yeah.
You talk about it.
So I do enjoy video games. I don't have time to play video games very often, so I normally either help our kids out with the games that they have, or I go back and play some of the games I grew up playing, and games that I never finished, and so I try to restart them and play them again. But my big time-consuming hobby is sewing. I've had my own sewing craft business for 11 years now, and about 2 years ago I decided that I was going to start designing my own fabric. So I've been doing artwork and designing my own fabric and selling that, as well as my sewn items. So yeah, that takes up most of my time.
It does. It's awesome stuff. We share, like, the studio is a shared workspace with this stuff, and then her sewing stuff. If you could somehow look that way, you'd be amazed at how much stuff that I can't identify there is at all. Okay, so what is or was your breakthrough game?
It would have been Pandemic as far as the Hobby game goes. So as soon as we started playing that, it really clicked with us. And I know that's a game that's kind of hard for some people to win. For some reason, that game just really clicked with us. Yeah. And so we won it most of the time, which is probably part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much, because I do tend to be competitive. But I also liked that it was co-op, because I had never played a co-op game before, and so being able to actually strategize with someone, and rather than just trying to be the person that wins the game, I thought was a lot of fun. Definitely.
My breakthrough game, you may have guessed already, was definitely Shadows over Camelot. I think before that, I always wanted to enjoy board games, and they never, I couldn't find one that really super clicked with me. Like I said, I'd kind of mess around with the Pop-O-Matic bubble, but I don't even remember if I was playing the game or if I was just going until I got a blinding headache. I'm not sure how that went. But that game, when I played it, it's a mostly co-op game. And, we played in a pretty big group. I don't remember how many there were, but it had to have been close to the max number of players if it wasn't exactly at the max. And just at the end, the final turn, when the person revealed they were a traitor by screwing the rest of us over, I was like, ah! I wasn't mad. It was so amazing that a board game could do that it just, oh my gosh, it was incredible. I don't think I've had an experience like that in almost any other type of game. So that was a big one for me, and that's probably also why I still kind of dig the traitor mechanic thing to this day, and no one else around me really some of them will put up with it, but that's about it. Whatever. It is what it is.
What's a theme that always draws you in?
Oh, this is hard because I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one. What is the theme that I'm asking the audience, that you hear people are tired of? Okay, that's the theme I like. So, superheroes, Cthulhu, fantasy like you're, stuck up elves and grumpy dwarves, like that fantasy. That's zombies I'm cool with as well. You give me those and I am super, super sucked in. I keep thinking like I want to say especially this one or this one, but really, no. I think it's just all of them. I'm so excited for Marvel Zombies. That combines two of them. If they could just be Marvel Zombies who've been teleported to a fantasy world where Cthulhu's attacking, oh my god! They should have done that, and then that would be the perfect game for me, but I can't make myself narrow it down to one. I think it just depends on my mood, but any one of those, like, I'm immediately interested in a game if it has those themes, and then I see if it's something I'll actually enjoy, but I definitely, it gets my attention right away.
Yeah, I'm definitely drawn to the superheroes. That's kind of where my passion really lies. I do really enjoy a lot of the Cthulhu games as well, though, so if it's a Cthulhu game, I'll at least give it a shot.
Right on. What is your favorite mechanism or mechanisms?
I enjoy co-op games, and then I really like the deck builders, games that have strategy to them. I'm much more inclined to like a game that where it's more of a puzzle and I have to figure it out than, it's something that's based off of luck.
Makes sense. My favorite is definitely deck building. I just love it because I like a little bit of randomness in games. I don't mind a game that's purely deterministic, but there's things about that I don't like. So if there's a little bit of randomness, that's great. But then if you can mitigate that randomness, even better. And deck building is kind of like all that. Like you're building your engine with your deck. You're trying to get it so that you're getting the good cards more often. Everything about it I just love. So any game that incorporates deck building into it is probably more likely to be a win for me. I super like that mechanism a lot.
And what's a mechanism that you do not like? Or you're not good at?
I'm not good at most of them. Let's be, I like to think I'm a pretty average gamer and she's just really good. That's what I hope it's that, and I'm just not terrible. And anyway, and she's really good. I'm gonna say, and this is maybe not being totally fair to this mechanism, but trick-taking games, only because I've never really played one. So I'm definitely not going to be good at them. And then I've heard podcasts try to explain it, and without it being in front of me, I still don't have any idea what they're talking about. Like there's a trump card, and you're winning a trick, and none of this makes any bit of sense to me. So I do want to explore it. I'm not adverse to it. I don't know it enough to. It hurts my desire to get a game if I know that it's a trick-taking game, because I just don't even understand what I'm getting into at all. So I'm going to say that, but that could definitely change in the future when we try some. So
I'm not a huge fan of the trader mechanic. If I'm going to play a co-op game, I want it to be a co-op game, and I don't want to have to worry about someone messing us up, especially since a lot of co-op games are already hard as it is. So having that extra level of hard difficulty, especially if there might not even be a trader.
Some of them, yeah. Some there are for sure.
So, and then I just don't really like playing the trader as well. And then I would just, if it's gonna be co-op, I want it to be co-op. If it's competitive, I want it to be competitive. I don't have to try and worry about guessing who's secretly messing us up.
Fair enough. I love it. This is a problem. Just kidding. It's not. It's fine. Okay. So I don't even know if I remember this. Okay. What are the newest game or games in our collection, and have we played them?
I can say we haven't played them.
This is true. So, I think Batman Everybody Lies is probably the newest one that I have taken out of packaging. And we've not played it yet, but that's going to be our next review, unless something bizarre happens that stops us somehow. I don't know how that would happen. I do have a unopened box that Plaid Hat sent to me. I know it's in it. It's Familiar Tales. So technically we have it. It doesn't feel like I have it until I take it out of the packaging, though. But we haven't played that because I haven't taken it out of the packaging. Wouldn't it be weird if I could play it without taking it out of the packaging? I cannot do that. But yeah, that's those are definitely the most recent two for sure.
Yeah. What's your favorite player count?
I'm tempted to say 1 because she can't beat me if I'm playing solo, but really it's not. No, I think it's 2 just because most of the games that we play with each other at least first. And I often won't buy, especially a competitive game, if it's like 3 and up, because it's really hard for us to get that played. A 2-player game, she's at least always willing to try it. So I like the 2-player games best, but I do like it when they have the option to have more people involved, because I do like playing with more people. It's just that that's not where we play the most of, I don't think, so.
Yeah, I agree. For us and our schedules, the 2-player games work out the best. I definitely have fun when we can go out and play with our friends, but it just doesn't work out very well for us as often as we like. So being able to have those 2-player games makes it so that we can actually play games.
Absolutely. All right, so what is your board game pet peeve? This is a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I got it. So my pet peeve is when the instructions are too into the theme. And so they come up with a lot of new terminology for core game mechanics. Because I have such a hard time learning the game if they change too many of the core mechanics to these weird names. Because then I'm too focused on what the names are and not what it means.
Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. It kind of depends for me too. Like if it's in a setting that like I understand already, and the words themselves aren't confusing, then it can kind of click with me with the theme. But like when it's something outside of my knowledge anyhow, or they're just coming up with stuff, then it's like, oh god, I gotta figure out what they're talking about. So I definitely can understand that. I think mine. This stuff. There's a lot of like things that just bug me like a little. Not too many things that really bug me a ton. I guess I don't like games that have so much iconography that I feel like I have to like look through the rulebook every time I try to do anything, and I'm trying to look at like a bunch of different symbols because it's just it can just be too much. And some companies are really good at making those symbols make sense really well, and some companies are not. And so when the symbols are weird to me or just not clicking with me, that can kind of drive me nuts. I understand why they do it. A lot of times they're trying to keep it kind of language independent. That way they don't have to print out different versions for every country they send it to. So it makes total sense, but I don't know. Like it could kind of be a little bit maddening and slow down and kind of ruin the fun of the game for me if there's just too many symbols and they're just not super clear, or they look too much alike when they do different things. That kind of thing can really drive me up the wall.
What player color do you often choose the most?
I'll always choose blue if I can. And when the people that tagged us, Rolling With Two, the Sarah from that channel, she also takes blue. And so if we ever play with them, I don't know what's going to happen. Because we both have the same problem where someone else takes blue. It's like, okay, but I'm probably going to move your pieces. Like, not on purpose, but it's probably going to happen. And so if I ever play a game with her, I just don't know. Neither one of us could take blue. Neither one. That's just how it's going to have to be. That's how it is.
Nobody takes blue.
Nobody takes blue because it's just going to mess up everybody. So none of that.
I normally take red. Sometimes I'll take purple. If there happens to be teal, I will always pick teal, but that doesn't seem to be a player color that's used very often.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, do you prefer to read the rulebook or watch a how to play?
I do neither. I have him learn it and then tells me how to do it.
Yes, indeed. And funnily enough, I do both usually. If possible, I'll watch a how to play and then I'll read the rulebooks, because then once I've watched a how to play, I have more context for what they're talking about in the rulebook. Usually, rulebooks are good at having examples, but it's still easier if I can actually see those components and have an idea of how everything interacts. If that still fails me, I just lay out the game and I try to play through a few rounds by myself so I can get the flow of the game, and that way I can explain it in a better way. But yeah, usually I'll do both if it's possible. Unless the game's real light, then I can just read the rules or whatever. But both, so kind of weird.
Favorite snack to eat while playing board games?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know if there's like really a specific thing. You know, I'm gonna make a lot of people cringe. So we have friends that live nearby, and we sometimes go over to their place for gaming. And a lot of times when we do, they'll have. Some of you might want to cover your ears for this. They'll have like cheese flavored potato chips and dip. So now that we're talking about like greasy and dusty, but you have dip too. Like this is a lot of danger for a board game. But honest to God, when we go over there, I'm always like, I'm gonna have some chips tonight. So like, because I don't usually get all that stuff at home that much. So not maybe once in a while, but so even though it's horrible for the cards, it's horrible for the game, it's horrible for America, damn it. Yeah, I still, if that is there, if someone's providing that, then that's what I'm gonna go for. And if not, I'll just eat something that's, if it's somebody else's game, I'm not gonna eat anything that's gonna mess up their stuff, so.
Yeah, that's, chips are kind of our go-to. If we're at home, I get these like freeze-dried coconut chips that are really good, and they don't have any powder on them, so I like to eat those if we're at home and we need a snack.
You know what's not good that I just discovered yesterday is freeze-dried mushroom chips, I guess. I like mushrooms. She does not like mushrooms. I like mushrooms. These things have a horrible aftertaste, and they just like stick into your teeth. Awful. Awful. I'll leave your game if that's all there is to eat. Forget that stuff. Okay. I think it's my turn to ask a question, right? Yeah, okay. Have you ever been to a board game convention? And if so, which ones?
So there's a local small board game convention called Dragonflight that I actually normally vend at every year. I didn't this past year because they changed the date and it didn't work with my schedule, but I normally go to that game. Because I'm vending, I don't get to really play the games, so a lot of times I'm just kind of in the room and watching people from afar play. But sometimes I'll like stick around. I'll either get to the show a little earlier or stick around for the show a little bit later so that I can sneak in a game or two before I have to go home.
Right on. Yeah, so I've been to that one too, although usually when I've been, it's been to be with her while she's vending. I would love to just go and like spend the weekend and play games, because it's a lot of just game playing going on. It's not like a lot of events where people are just talking to you, I don't think. At least not that I've noticed them having a lot. But I'd like to get to one of the big ones. It's really hard on my work schedule because we have to have our days off chosen way in advance, especially the last couple of years where dates have been all over the place because of the pandemic and whatnot. So it's hard for me to get to those bigger ones. I wish we had a really big one out here. We did go to PAX one year.
PAX West.
PAX West, not Unplugged, so mostly video games still, but they had a good board game presence there. We played like Mansions of Madness for the first time there and absolutely loved it. We played Descent, which is a good game. The demo wasn't fantastic, but we played Port Royal. There was a Dungeons & Dragons themed deck called Dragonfire or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was alright. We didn't get that one, but it was a good time. We pretty much just stuck to the board game stuff the entire time, even though it wasn't a big part of the convention. So pretty awesome.
What's an unreleased game that you're looking forward to most?
Oh wow. Okay. There's so many good things coming. Okay, so there was a game that I backed on Kickstarter or GameFound? I don't remember now. Storm Thunder Heirs of Ruin. It's real pretty. It is kind of a very heavily narrative dungeon crawler. But what I think is really neat about it, or I'll hate it, is so there's all these pre-made characters in there, right? And they range in their personality type. So you might have like this, like one of them is this vampire lady who's really, really vicious. And then you have other people that are like, oh, I'm the nice healer. Now you could still team them together, that's fine. But there's gonna come times where your group has to make a decision. Like it might be, oh, do we spare this person or do we kill them? And I'm sure you can guess based on those two characters which one would prefer which. So here's the thing, as you go on, if you're like, say, the evil vampire lady, and they keep like sparing people and doing the nice thing, eventually that character that you were playing is going to choose to leave. That character's out. and you're going to pick another character to keep playing with the party. And you might run into that gal again, and she's going to be mad at you guys. She's like, you guys wasted my time. And now she's your enemy, but she used to be the person you're playing as. And I think that's really fascinating because you have a legitimate reason to kind of like roleplay these people and be like, no, we have to kill them because I like blood. Or whatever, you know, whatever it is. There's a lot of characters, but, you know, that's one of the things. And I think that's a really fascinating thing. I think I'll really like it. I could see it being, if you built up this character and like, you're like, but now my character's mad at the party and they're going to leave. I could see where that would be frustrating, but I don't know. I think it sounds really fascinating. So I think Storm Thunder Heirs of Ruin is the one that I'm most excited about.
So I don't, because I'm so busy with my sewing and fabric hobby business, I don't really get a lot of the information about upcoming games. A lot of times it's just him telling me about these games that are coming out. So other than some of the Kickstarter games that we've reviewed, like I don't actually know a lot of games that are coming out. But I am excited for the new viticulture expansion that's coming out. I'm very curious to see how they're going to make it co-op, what they're doing to make it co-op, because it just, my brain can't wrap around how you would play that game co-op. So, so I'm really curious to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I've heard really good things, but you know, we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. What is your favorite thing about the board game hobby?
I think it's fun to have to be able to get with our friends and, you know, just to be able to play something with, you know, instead of just hanging out and just talking. I like being able to have something to do when we go out and hang out with our friends rather than just sitting around and talking and, you know, drinking or whatever. You know, something to kind of help entertain us while we're catching up with each other.
Yeah, I'm much the same. I'm actually pretty introverted, so if there's an activity, it really helps me kind of just like get into the flow of chatting more, so that's good. But in addition to that, it's just a really good escape. You know, whatever stresses are going on in your life, I'm not thinking about those as much when we're playing a game. I'm just kind of focused on, you know, winning or getting this task done, whatever it is in the game, or just figuring out the game, that's fine. It really just helps kind of get me out of my own head and get me thinking about something else that is just there. You know, there's no real consequences. You might lose the game, but whatever. I mean, that's not a consequence really. So I just really like the escapism of it. So that's a big thing for me.
Alright. Open and punch out a game when you first get it, or wait until you play it for the first time? Wow.
I'm all over the board on this one. All over the board. I wasn't trying to do that. Anyway, but I really am. Now that we're doing this channel and I do unboxings, I usually won't take the wrapper off until I'm going to do the unboxing. So that could be right away, or it could take a little while depending. But before that, I think it just kind of varied. I think if I was really excited about the specific components of a game, I'd be more likely to unbox it first. Other than that, it'd be like, okay, we're going to try to play this weekend. So like in that circumstances where we're going to play, you know, this coming weekend or whatever, I have to get everything open and figure it out and get it ready. So then I'll do it then. But it's really, I don't know. My brain just decides to do things. I don't know.
Depends on how excited we are about the game.
Yeah, that could be it. So, do you have a different answer to that, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you know, the board games are, you know, as much as I like playing them, they're more, he's in charge of them, so he kind of decides when we're punching them out or not. Yeah,
I'm a dictator. Okay, so the last question that we were sent is about tagging some other people and who we'd like to see answer these, but we're going to do that last. So these next questions are not something that other people we tag will necessarily be answering. These are things that people through various social media have given us these questions. So let's get into that. So first we have Carl, who on Twitter is @N20Games, asks, where do you get the costumes and inspiration for all your skit characters? I should have had you ask this, because you don't make skit characters, but that's okay. So the costumes, honestly, it's mostly Amazon. I know I shouldn't be putting a bunch of money in Jeff Bezos' pocket, but there's just not a lot of costume stores around here, and I can always find specifically what I need on Amazon. And as far as the inspiration for them, that varies a bit. You know, some of them are takeoffs of specific people or the characters that those people play, and that's kind of easy, although I'll try to put some kind of weird little twist on them of some sort of my own. Some of the other ones, you know, I want to keep it, I usually have a character that ties to the theme of a game. So I've got, you know, my clone character who's our sci-fi person who's Star Trek red shirt, basically, so he doesn't live usually. And my cultist, who was actually, I think, maybe the first character I thought of. And, you know, he's this evil cultist, but he also has this, like, normal life that gets alluded to a lot. Because I've always kind of said, like, you know, like, the biggest villains that you see in movies have to have these normal moments. Like, Emperor Palpatine sometimes sits down to his favorite dessert and smiles in a not evil way. He's just happy that he gets to eat his creme brulee or whatever the heck it is. Who knows what that freak is.
Maybe we should ask him this weekend.
Yeah, he's the actor is going to be, like, the character isn't going to come out of the movie. And wouldn't that be cool? Or bad. Anyway, so I kind of like that kind of thing where it's like, okay, these people have to do normal stuff sometimes. They have to. Like, there's no way they're just constantly doing berserk evil. They have to. So, you know, things like that is where it's coming from. I like throwing that sort of thing in. My Inconveniencer character, I thought of that as like as a name because I didn't want to make someone like truly, truly sinister. So I'm like, well, if he just inconveniences people, that's great. And then for his costume, I seriously just kind of looked around for like weird masks on Amazon. I found the cat Robo mask, and I was like, well, cats are inconvenient, so that's perfect. That mask hurts my head, like right here. There's this plastic thing that is burrowing into my skull the entire time I wear it, and it's awful, but
very inconvenient.
It's super inconvenient. And then the rest of the time, I just found other stuff that I thought would go with it. I think I have Darth Vader gloves on him, and a magician's cape, and a big jacket or sweater that has like an eye on it for inconvenience. It's cheesy as heck, but you know, that's it. A lot of it's just, you know, like fantasy tropes or whatever, so yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Maurice Andrew Jr., which is at M_Andrews Jr., asked, what got you started on YouTube?
Okay, so I just want everyone to agree with me. That's not true, but I always kind of wanted to do reviews of something, and at one point, this guy named Paul Shapiro, who is with the Board Game Squad website, he was looking for people to contribute written reviews. And at first I was like, nah, I don't know, I probably wouldn't be great at that. And something during the day made me decide, okay, I'm going to reach out to him. And so I did some reviews for him, and he was really, really helpful. It's an awesome site, and he's an awesome guy, by the way, so check them out. I'll link that in the description too. And I'd actually like to do more written reviews, but just time has been kind of crazy, and I had no idea how much time the videos would take up when I started doing it. But he kind of got me started there, and then I kind of realized, like, it is fun to write, and I like writing, but I also just wanted to be able to talk and just say things more spur of the moment and have it feel more conversational than a written piece usually can be. So I just sort of decided, okay, well, maybe I'll try this YouTube thing out. You know, if it bombs, whatever, I could still do the written reviews, and if it's fantastic, I don't know what happens. It's fantastic. We haven't hit that yet, but it hasn't bombed either. So, you know, we're in limbo.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, but I just think it's fun. It's a good spot for me to kind of get some of like the weird, goofy board game thoughts that I have out of my head and spout them at people who I hope listen. I don't know what you all are doing. Something's happening though. So anyway, that's about it.
Yeah, and I basically started, you know, because most of the games you have to have at least one other player with you, so I was playing the games with them anyways, plus I like playing the games, and then I just kind of was like, well, you know, it helps to have a second opinion on these games, so we just decided to go ahead and have me jump in and start helping out with it. For sure. Yeah, because the things she looked for in games are not exactly the same as mine. I mean, we have overlap, of course, but, you know, we have some different viewpoints on things, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so Riley Stock, who on Twitter is at RiledNerd, he's the host of the Boardgame Community Show and the Friend and Foe Adventure Co. podcasts. He has two questions. So, what board game best resembles your life, and where do meeples come from? That first one's hard. Big Book of Madness. I feel like it's... Wow. Just, no. Life is hard. It's so very hard.
That's appropriate. It really is.
Yeah, I don't know about which game would most resemble our lives, other than maybe the game of life. But
Yeah,
that's not really
so typical.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, so I'm gonna say Ark Nova because we have 3 children and a dog and a cat and a rabbit and a father-in-law living with us.
And a fish.
And a fish. So we have a lot of animals or animalistic beings, and I just wish we could have them in some sort of enclosure, but we can't really, so now it's not like it.
The animals are running the zoo.
The animals are kind of running our particular zoo, and I don't know if we're doing a lot of conservation efforts. It's definitely not conserving our sanity. Maybe it's not like Ark Nova at all. But zoo seems most appropriate, and that's like the zoo game I've played.
Yeah.
So, maybe one of those like dinosaur, like sort of Jurassic Park themed games would be kind of right, because I'm not convinced that our kids and animals aren't actually trying to kill us. Could, I don't know. It could be. So, where do you think meeples come from?
There's a little maple tree that gives birth to them, and
I see. So Riley, I don't want to blow your mind here. So, when a wooden board, and a wood cutting tool love each other very much, the wood board lies down, the cutting tool has this protrusion that just goes really fast. And after a little bit, meeple. That's how that works, Riley. I know. I'll tell you more about it later if you need me to. So, you know how to reach me, so.
Alright. Seth A. Gonzalez at Seth A. Gonzalez asked, if you had to choose to live within a fictional world of any board game, what game would that be and why?
Okay. I've given this a lot of thought. And what I'm going to say is going to sound ill-advised. But I'm kind of serious. I would live in Arkham Horror, or the Arkham Files world. It's awful. Is it really more awful than the real thing? Not that much. And you know, it makes things so interesting. Like, there are legit weird mysteries that are hard for people to even fathom. There are, like, libraries that have secret collections that, like, very few people can ever have access to. There's big, bad, unquestionable evils that I think could only unite humanity. The secrets world piece is cosmic evil. That's the secret. I want to live in a peaceful world.
Do you remember, like, a few years ago?
Yeah, I don't like to credit that with cosmic. Anyway, yeah, so Arkham Horror, or any of those Arkham games. Yep.
I thought about this a lot. I thought about the Arkham world and too much craziness.
There's a lot.
I thought about the several Marvel games that we have, and as much as I think superheroes would be fun, there's also supervillains. Mm-hmm. So I would ideally, I would probably actually choose a game similar to like Viticulture, where it's fairly relaxing. You're doing work, but you know, it's probably the most idealistic, non-crazy things want to kill you.
And you can have one of your workers be like super big.
Yeah.
For some bizarre reason. That's a strange one. All right, you're gonna scroll this down for me because I can't work without a real mouse here. Okay. All right. So I hope I'm gonna pronounce this right. It's a little bit different. So Antscherl Games at Antscherl G. IG, I think. It could be.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, this person asked. This is a tough one. This hurts my brain. I'm still not sure what I'm going to say. You have to give a board game away to someone who's not played many games of anything before. You can never play the game you give away again. What do you give? And you're trying to get this person excited about playing games. So you can't just give away garbage.
Even though it was I think I would give away the game that would started us with, and that would be Pandemic. I think it's a really good intro game to the board game hobby. It's a theme that people can understand, and it helps teach a lot of basic core hobby game mechanics. And there's other games out there that we could kind of replace if we couldn't play Pandemic again.
Yeah, I think that's got it. I was trying to think of something a little less well known, but I think that's got to be my answer too. I mean, because especially not knowing who this person is, Pandemic is an understandable theme to have. Like, everyone I think can at least grasp that, especially now. And yeah, the co-op thing helps out. And there are, like, we have Defenders of the Realm, which is sort of like more complicated Pandemic, and there's lots of other versions of Pandemic that we could go to if we really wanted to have that experience again. So yeah, I think Pandemic is the one for me as well.
Mm-hmm. Angela Whitelaw asked if you could get one movie made into a board game, what would it be and why?
Oh god, this is the one I really needed to think about ahead of time. Oh boy, that's tough. I kept trying to think of one, and every time I thought of one, I was like, no, they did that already. That's not going to work. I think, I'm not sure how this would go. I would like to see a game based on Nightmare on Elm Street. It was my favorite horror movie as a child. Sounds messed up. Anyway, but it was. I still think it's a really cool concept. I'm not sure how the game would play out. Like, are you just trying not to fall asleep, but sometimes you have to? Do you have to come up with some way to, like, deal with him when you're asleep? I don't know. But I would really like a game themed after that. I think you could do some interesting things with the whole trying not to sleep, but then when you are, what do you do now thing. I think it could be fascinating, and I like scary games, or, you know, horror themed games, so I think it'd be cool.
This was another one that I had a hard time with. I was kind of going back up and forth on a few movies. The one that I came up with, and there might be a game out there for it. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, actually. But I don't know of it, and that'd be Willy Wonka. I think
they just came out with it. I'm not even joking. I think I saw the first pictures of it, like, yesterday.
Well, there we go.
Your wish came true. That's amazing. Yay, good job.
So I just think it'd be really fun to, you know, do all the wacky different candies, and, you know, especially if you had to, like, play as the children trying to get through the factory, and I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so Timothy Tola from the Board Game Hot Takes podcast, fantastic podcast, by the way. He has 3 questions, so let's do these kind of back and forth a little bit, because I'll forget one of them, sure. So, how many board games do you get played per week on average?
So, because we're doing the reviews, we try to play a board game at least 3-4 times before we do a review to make sure that we get a fair reading of the game before we give our reviews of it. So because of that, and with our jobs and kids and everything, like, we really only kind of play one board game a week. If that, even. Sometimes it's one board game over 2 weeks. So
yeah. I will give a little bit bigger answer just because I've started playing a lot on Board Game Arena, so that has helped me play more games more frequently. So I'm going to say, as far as different games, probably 3 or 4. I don't like to have too many different games going at once. I think when I first got on Board Game Arena, I kind of went crazy, and I had like 10 games, and I was like, I can't even tell what I'm doing anymore. So I kind of tried to, like, calm it down a little bit. But as far as, like, a physical copy, like, yeah, usually in a week, it's really probably just like one game we mainly focus on. Sometimes I get in something different. Like, sometimes there's games that I'll play solo, but not too many different games in a week. I'm very jealous of the people who are like, will show this stack that looks like the whole shelf behind me, like, this is what we're playing this weekend. I'm like, are you kidding? I want your life. Not really, I like my life, but I do want your time to play games, person. Theoretical person.
Right. Timothy's second question was, what's your favorite 2-player game?
Okay, I'm going to assume this means a game that can be played at 2 players, but not necessarily specific to 2 players. And that doesn't make it easier, actually. I'm gonna go with my favorite game of all time, Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. I love it. I can't play it much because it is so long, but I dig everything about it. And yeah, I mean, I would happily play that with more people too, but you can definitely play it. I mean, you can play it solo if you want, but I definitely enjoy playing that at 2. Just a good mix of story and mechanics for me. It's a blast every time for me, even though usually it's a loss as well. But that's all my games are. It doesn't even matter, so it's whatever, a loss. Who cares?
So I read the game as games that were only 2 players.
Fair enough.
So for me, I'm going to go with Hero Realms. I think that it's a really fun deck builder, and it's really quick, really good back and forth pace, high fantasy, easy to learn. I was kind of going back and forth between that and Dice Masters, but both of those are pretty fun 2-player only games.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're doing 2-player only, I would say Dice Masters, I think.
Yeah.
I really like that game. It's so good. It's so good. People play that game. You're missing out if you don't play that game. You really are. I'm not joking. Serious. Good God. Okay.
I'll read the last one.
Okay.
And then Timothy's last question is, why are you so damn more entertaining than me? And I assume he means him, not me.
You're entertaining too. There's 2 things, Tim. Marvel United and artichokes. You have to like those things or you just can't be an entertaining person. This is an inside joke that nobody else is getting. He does. I'm just messing with him. I don't know that I'm more entertaining than you. I think you're plenty entertaining because I listen to your podcast all the time and always look forward to it. So I think maybe we just have different ways of being entertaining. But I think the thing with me is I have been such a geek for so long that I just no longer have shame for the most part. Like I'll kind of just do whatever. That's not true. There's probably been a couple things I decided I probably shouldn't try to do on the channel, but there's not very many things, and so I just kind of throw myself into whatever ridiculous skit I have going on, and I think that's it. I just don't have much shame. And that's what it takes, I guess. I'm going to go with that. But you are very entertaining. Everyone should go listen to the Board Game Hot Takes podcast because it's really fantastic. They are very insightful about games. So do it, people. Okay, so now we're getting to the last part. You do that. Other people we'd like to see do this tag. Now, I'm kind of the only one of us that actually takes in board game content.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I watch them on occasion when he's watching them, but because I am busy with my own stuff, I don't really have time to watch a bunch of YouTube channels. So,
yeah. And I'll have all these listed too in the description, so and links where I can. So definitely go check them out for sure. But first up is Riley Stock from the Board Game Community Show podcast, as well as the Friend and Foe Adventure Co. podcast. The Board Game Community one, he actually just talks to various people in the community, whatever part of the board game world they're in. He interviews people. He'll interview people who are very well known, all the way down to me. I've been on there a couple times. So no, he's a fantastic guy. You should definitely listen. And the Friend and Foe Adventure Co. is a real play of a role-playing game that is supposed to be the role-playing game that people in the Borderlands universe of video games play. I think I have that right. I usually don't like real play podcasts or anything. I just don't usually get into them. This one is freaking hilarious. It's so damn funny. You got to check it out if you haven't yet. Even if you're not usually into that, I highly recommend it. I don't even know that world that good, but it's great. You really got to listen to it. So I want to hear him answer these questions, probably on the community show, not in the middle of him trying to run a role-playing game. That would be weird. But if he wants to do it, I mean, go for it, Riley. Go for it. Then there is Ryan from the MistaRau Rants and Reviews on YouTube. You might have guessed he does rants and reviews on YouTube. He also does playthroughs with guests. I just film one with them, but even the ones that I'm not on are great, of course. But no, he's just really well thought out rants and reviews. He's just good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like every time I'm going to say just rants and reviews over and over again, but they're great. You have to go listen to him or watch him. He's fantastic. Maurice from the Maurice Anders YouTube channel. He's relatively new, and I just really like his insight into all the games he talks about. He is a big Marvel Champions fan, so anytime I'm struggling trying to figure out Marvel Champions, he is going to be the guy I go to. But he doesn't just talk about that, and I just like the guy. He's so personable. I've had a chance to chat with him. Just a really fun person, and I would be thrilled to see him blow up and get really huge. Because, I mean, like I said, he's just kind of getting in there, and I think that he's got a lot of awesome stuff ahead of him, so I want to hear him answer these questions so that some more of you all could learn more about him too. Then there is Richard from the Genders Gaming YouTube channel. He is so fun. He helped me figure out a game, figure out this war of mine. Now the rules kind of walk you through it, and he even kind of jokes about that partway through the video, but it still helped me to see him explain it. And I really enjoy, he always posts these pictures of him kind of photoshopped into various like game pictures and asks you to guess what game he's in. That's just a little fun thing, but super likable person. You just have to watch the show. He's fantastic. He just hit a really big milestone, and I'm blanking what it is, but he had a lot of views. I just don't remember the exact number. It was a lot of views, so congrats on that, Richard. I hope some more people will go and click the link in the description to go check you out. And then I think it's the last one. Is, okay, Sir Thekos from the Sir Thekos YouTube channel. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but I think I am. This is kind of embarrassing because I realize I don't think I know his actual name. And I have played with him consistently on Board Game Arena, like since I got on Board Game Arena. I'm literally always in a game with this guy, and we trade back and forth who picks the game. He does all kinds of stuff. He shows you what he plays during the week. He does playthroughs, and just a super nice person. And gosh, I feel really bad that I don't know his real name. I feel terrible. But anyway, Sir Thek, he sounds like a knight, and maybe he is one. I'm not sure, but he could be. He's, you know, he might ride up to his YouTube camera on a horse. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing at things now, but it's fun. Anyway, go watch his stuff, and hopefully he will find time to answer these questions and not be too offended that I don't know that his name's actually Ralph or something. I don't know. It could be anything. But sorry about that, Sir Thekos. I'm just going to think of you as a knight and hope you're okay with it. All right, so that's been it. That's been our little question and answer thing. Next week, we're going to have our Batman Everybody Lies review. Like I said, unless something terrible happens, we're doing this in the place of that this week because that game is going to be a little bit more involved and we have to have time to do it. And there's been a lot of factors that have kind of interfered with that. So we're going to get to that. But I hope that this particular video has been fun for you to watch. If it has, please hit like and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you know about the next time we put out a video. Also, definitely look down in the description. Check out all these people that we've mentioned because all of them are fantastic and I love them all. To any of you people who I interact with that I forgot, I have a plan to start pointing some of you folks out there too. So don't take it personally. There's going to be other things going on, I promise. So anyway, that's about it. So I guess we'll see you around the table.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed that video, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
Either way, if you could click this button to subscribe so you can see more of our stuff when it comes out.
We'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.